What was the meaning of all of this? It had been an uneventful Wednesday morning before the singularity struck him. The previous 15 years had been on autopilot. There had been the occasional flashes of inspiration, a few moments of brilliance, even a few projects that had genuinely been great that reminded him of what he could be. But mostly, though, he would revert back to the status quo, never connecting the dots and waiting for that breakout moment that never arrived. His aha moment was 15 years in the making. During a quiet pause with his morning coffee, something shifted. The caffeine bubbled through his veins en route to his brain. His mind sharpened. He became acutely aware of the magazine he was holding, the colour of the pages suddenly so vibrant, the smell of the ink, the typography, the photography, the small window into other people's lives. People creating, travelling, building. People living. The world was alive, and he realised he too was part of that world. His story existed as much as theirs. Suddenly, the previous 15 years of scattered thoughts, insights, meandering experimentation, experience, and half-formed revelations began to coalesce. A dizzying feeling of weightlessness in his mind as the singularity formed into one coherent structure, and a universe exploded within. This was the moment. He dropped the magazine and looked up like he was ready for his close-up. He'd been honing his abilities as a thinker to improve his life over the last few months, but the breakthrough wasn't forthcoming. It was a series of great ideas, not tied to a unifying theme. It was like M theory for the universe. You know, the theory of everything. The maths was just incomplete. Today, though, the final equation in his life was solved. It was as though the machine was there and the power switch was turned on. The adrenaline was dizzying. He got up intently and walked downstairs, realising everything was about to change. There would be no going back. The key was in the doing. He found a quiet room away from everybody, and he would do 10 push-ups. And then he'd do another 10 push-ups later on that day. And then another. And then another and another. This is where he would start. He would make this electricity his life. There were many philosophical continents which he'd been building upon, but that had no bridges connecting them. Recently he'd had a revelation though. What if math was discovered rather than invented? That idea, shared by many of his favourite scientists, changed everything for him. If math existed before humans, then it wasn't the universe that was fundamental, but the structure beneath it. Math was timeless. It was the underlying blueprint, the reason there was something rather than nothing. The universe wasn't built on matter, it was built on math. The revelation he'd seen today was if math was an equation with locked-in, non-negotiable results, that meant there was no formula that could possibly exist in which the universe was out to sabotage him. There was no tidy proof that said he'd magically become a millionaire. If he wanted a different outcome, he realised he'd have to choose the inputs himself. He'd made some feeble attempts to run in the past. 6 minutes was his max. It was 3 for the longest time. But when he connected that you could actually run indefinitely, and that it was just a battle with your mind, he decided to just keep running next time. See what would happen. He approached the 6-minute mark, then the 10-minute, then the 15. There was no collapse. There was no heart attack. Just rhythm. He broke 20 minutes no sweat. Then 30. He realised the sky was the limit. It was his mind that controlled it all. He got home and didn't feel like cooking. Looked like another lazy night where he cooked late and say he might as well stay up a bit longer because it's already way past bedtime. But this was such an old and childish way to live, especially at his age. Sleep was incredibly important to his functioning in this new era. He needed to cook right now, and he knew it. This was just a microcosm of running, only not as punishing. With dinner made, leftovers for days, and getting to bed on time, a deep sense of excitement and satisfaction crawled over him like he'd never felt before in his life. Back at work the next day, he spotted a pallet of green Woolies totes and decided to test something. People kick stuff when they're angry. He'd done it before. So he kicked a tote without feeling any anger involved. Pure neutrality. It was the same outcome. Nothing changed. The universe didn't care about your tantrums. Objects don't fight back. The tote didn't care. The universe didn't care. The only difference was the story he told himself inside his head. Now, this was an obvious fact on the surface, of course, but actually embodying it and understanding it, he could see exactly how it fitted in. He always knew this anger was pointless, but he never gave it a second thought. It just felt good to punish the toad. It felt good to punish the toad? What were you thinking? No more delusion. Deeper thinking was required. Not overthinking, just thinking critically. He was beginning to get it together. Slowly at first, gaining momentum with time. 100 push-ups with jogging every day and finishing it off with a swim. Cooking dinner, studying uni, creating his art side projects, discovering his wine tongue, listening to new music. And the momentum became the meaning.